أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والشرف والدرجة العالية الرفيعة وبعث المقام المحمود الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد يا أرحم الراحمين. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي 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 وارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدنا يا رسول الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدنا يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدنا يا نبي الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من عليه صلى الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا خير خلق الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا شفيعنا عند الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من بطيبة أسكنه الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من بالرعب نصره الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من بسيف النصر أيده الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيد المرسلين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من أسري به ليلة الاثنين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا أبا فاطمة الزين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا جد الحسن والحسين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من أرسله الله رحمة للعالمين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيد الأولين والآخرين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا قائد الغر المحجلين. صلى الله وسلم عليك وعلى آلك ورضي الله تعالى عن ذوي القدر العلي والفخر الجلي ساداتنا وأئمتنا أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي، ورضي الله تعالى عن الصحابة أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد يا رب العالمين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له لا شبيه له ولا ند له ولا ولد له ولا صاحبة له، فتعالى جد ربنا ما اتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So, alhamdulillah, أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله سبحانه وتعالى. So, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Today we have a hadith. I was thinking about what really the hadith we can give for the khutbah. And I think one of the best things we can give in the khutbah is the wasaya, the advices from Rasulullah sallam, one of the companions that we know. This companion was the first one who said, Assalamu alaikum fil Islam. This companion, he was from a tribe that they were known that they steal things from the people. When you're going from having like a journey for commercial journey, you find out like they cut the way, they steal the money. He's from this tribe. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he described him. ما قلت الغبراء ولا أظلت الخضراء من رجل أصدق من أبي ذر. There is no land ever, and there's no one walked in this land or a sky that says someone have more sincerity than Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. And there's a lot of lessons from his story. He was living in a tribe. He heard the news that there is a Rasul who came in Mecca, and he started hearing the news that there is a prophet. He calling for Allah, one Allah. Then he had like the feeling, okay, I'm gonna send my brother to check what's happening there. And when he sent his brother met Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he met him, he came back and he asked his brother Anis, what happened there? He said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ, he was calling people for khair, for good things, for the makarim al-akhlaq, as he said here. Makarim al-akhlaq. And he said, and good morals. And he said, okay, what about people say about him? He said, he's a magician, he's a poet, he writes poems. Then Sayyidina Abu Dharr, okay, this is what you know? Like he has two stories now. he called for khair, at the same time he called, and the people said about him he's not a magician. Then he said, okay, let's go and investigate the news. And this is a big lesson as a Muslims we have to learn, that Abu Dharr started practice Islam even before Islam came to him, which is investigating the news. How many of us like sharing things on Facebook that is not accurate, or hearing news about someone and spread it without knowing this is right or wrong? So okay, let me go there and I will find out what's happened with this man. Like this man, we heard about a lot about things like contradiction things. So he didn't judge, he just go. He went there and he told his brother, please take care of my kids and until I come back. And subhanAllah, like he has commitments, he has responsibilities, he has his kids. With all this, he left them and he went to Mecca to know the truth. He was sincere about this truth. And he went and he met Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And there's a long story. We don't have time today to talk about it, but that's very important that we learn that we have to investigate things. We have to go and we have to take the steps. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide us. And he went to Medina. Rasulullah told him, okay, khalas, go back. After he became Muslim, he went back to his city. His brother became Muslim. His mom became Muslim. And his entire tribe, most of them became Muslim later. So he just practiced Islam before even Islam. He practiced Islam from the first day. He knew the khair, he spread it. بَلَّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Even convey even a one message. Then after the Khandaq conquer, he became back to Medina, to Rasulullah sallam. Then after Nabi sallam died in year 10, I think, yeah, year 10. Subhanallah, he was not able to stay in Medina after Sayyidina Muhammad sallam died. And this is a proof from the Sunnah how the Sahaba was loving the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not just like a myth or just something we people imagine. Sayyidina Bilal was the same. He didn't live in Medina. He was not able to live. Imagine if he loved someone, he can go to the places that he used to be there. And subhanallah, Sayyidina Abu Dharr kana minhum. He was one of them. Then we see one of the hadiths that really touches my heart from a couple of years. And when I was thinking about this khutbah, I said this is one of amazing hadith that of course, all his hadith have a lot of meanings. But this one very special for my heart, at least. So he started with the hadith is قال أبي ذر رضي الله عنه أمرني خليلي, my friend, my beloved friend, command me by 7 things. بسبع. أمرني بحب المساكين. He command me to love the poor people. And if you see the tafsir of the hadith, you have 2 meanings in the Arabic. One meaning, poor people, literally poor people. And poor people mean that the one who's humble. And if you go with this route, like he's a humble, yes, Rasulullah wants all of us to be humble. Because if you think about the Sunnah, Rasulullah he said, no one will enter heaven if he has in his heart an atom of arrogance, like he feels like he's better than others. And you have to really think about this hadith, حُبَّ الْمَسَاكِينَ, love the poor people. And here is talking about the poor heart, the one that's humble. And وَالدُّنُوُ مِنْهُمْ, to be close to them. Because when you go close to them, what happens? Your heart gets softened. If you're around arrogant people all the time, especially living in a certain environment, whatever this environment is, you will get from this. And al-mar'u ala dinu khalili, you will learn from your friend. That's why Rasulullah he said to us, be close to the poor people, be close to the humble people. Because these humble people, when they look to the people, they look from Allah's sight. هو لا ينظرون إلى المظاهر, they look to the outward, they look from inward. فإنه اتقوا فراسة المؤمن يعني التقوى في رأس المؤمن إنه ينظر بلون الله. He looks from Allah's sight. And this is the righteous way, and righteous people do this, as-salihin. They look always through the heart. They don't see just the external part. So this is one of the things that there's a hadith, إن الله لا ينظر إلى أجسامكم ولا إلى صوركم ولكن ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his gaze on not how we look, how we dress, how we talk. It doesn't matter how you're charismatic or not. He only looked to one thing. He looked to your heart. And this is how the humble people treat the others. They see them as all of them is creation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it also teaches us something else, like the other heart. What kind of the other heart is? It's the heart of like Iblis. The one like, أنا خير منه. I'm better than him. That he feels better than the others. He feels entitled than the others. So this is the first advice that Rasulullah gave it to Abu Dharr. And here's Subhanallah. وأمرني أن أنظر إلى من هو دوني ولا أنظر إلى من هو فوقي. He commanded me, don't look to the people above you and only look to the people who is lower than you. This is in the dunya matters, it's not for the akhirah. For the akhirah, we look for the people better than us. For the dunya, we look for the people lower than us. And here, you're going to open a lot of things, because the problem when you look to the other people and you start comparing yourself with the others, in reality, this is called i'tirad. And i'tirad is rejection of Allah's decree. This is exactly what it is. And I remember Abu Dharr, he started his book, Al-Fath al-Rabbani wal-Fayd al-Rahmani. He started with, إن الاعتراض على الله هو موت الدين وموت القلب. Having rejection of Allah's decree is the death of your heart and the death of your deen and the death of the tawheed. So if you having any problem, like if you see someone with blessing that you don't have, like mashallah, he has better car, he has more kids, he have this home, and also again, the theme of this hadith is the zahir and the batin. What's external, what's internal. And this hadith is emphasizing on this. When you see the others, like they have blessing you don't have, as a Muslim, what we should do. Like I saw someone having a lot of money, and I'm struggling in my life to get money, for example. When you see someone this blessing, what are you going to do? If you say, why he has this money and I deserve more than him, you don't get i'tirad. You don't get rejection of Allah's decree. But in reality, the right way of our teacher who taught us is, when you see someone with a blessing, we say, Subhan al-Fattah. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give someone all this rizq. May Allah bless his money. May Allah bless his rizq. This is the right way as a Muslim we should do. We should not be getting like jealousy and having i'tirad, because most of our things in our life and our problems is from expectations and you comparing yourself with others. So this hadith emphasizing on this. وَأَمَرِنَا أَنْ أَنْظُرْ إِلَى مَنْ هُوَ دُونِي. Because if you think about the hasad, what is really hasad is? Hasad, and Rasulullah he warned us from this. إن الحسد إياكم والحسد فإن الحسد يأكل الحسنات كما تأكل النار الحطب. So be careful from hasad, envying the other people, because it burns your deeds as the fire burned the wood. So think about all your life, even from dunya perspective, be collecting all this money, put it in the drawer for years and years, accumulated. This is your a'mal, for example. Then just like burn it, and this money is gone. So this burning is the hasad, is the hasad, is the envying the other people. When you look to what they have and you don't have and compare yourself with the others, this burn your deed. Imagine all your prayers in the qiyam, imagine all your salawat in Ramadan. You go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all this is not there. And you ask yourself why? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is the hasad. And this is in the hadith. This is wahy. It's a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is how, as a Muslim, we have to do in life. And the third thing he said, وَأَمَرَنِي أَنْ أَصِلَ الرَّحِمْ وَإِنْ أَدْبَرَتْ. He commanded me to be close to my relative even if they left me. So your relatives like Sitar Raham, like who? Like your cousins, your aunt, your brother, your sister, because your parents in a different level for sure. But if you think about it, this kind of relations Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is imposed on us. It's not like a friend I can choose to be close to him or not. This is choices in life. But when it comes to the family, you can't cut the relations with them. And Allah subhanahu and Rasulullah was so obvious in the hadith saying that whoever cuts the relation with his family, the hadith is very obvious here. لا يدخل الجنة قاطع. No one that he has cutting ties with his relationship with his family will go to heaven. So think about how many problems you have in the family with members and you just don't call them in the Eid or Ramadan. You should be able to try to call them and think about what is the heaviest call on your heart. And this is the call you should start. Even with other people, not even just the relatives. But in general, especially the relatives, you will not be from the heaven. Even if they're bad to you, at least just maintain the minimum, which is text message, phone call, small thing, just the minimum at least. Should be better than this, but at least like this. And the fourth thing he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, وَأَمَرَنِي أَلَّا أَسْأَلَ أَحَدًا شَيْئًا. He told me, don't ask people for anything. And here we have to clarify, the meaning of this is, of course, it's permissible in the Sharia to ask the one who is in need, to ask the people to help him, the one in need. But this hadith is not talking about this. This hadith is talking about when you ask people for something in your heart, you know exactly that this is not from them. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the salary you're taking in the job, or the people that give you anything in life, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best example that Imam al-Ghazali, he gave it in Ihya Ulum al-Din. He was saying, he was talking about the Tawheed. And of course, when you talk about Tawheed, he goes to the Tawakkul. And he gave a best example that you can really understand how this works. So for example, he said, if a judge is giving someone a sentence, like he's now going to go to jail or going to be out. And this qadi, he signed his decision on a paper with a pen. And he write on the pen, yeah, he's free, he's not guilty. So imagine someone saw this with his own eye, then he go, and instead of going to the judge and tell him, thank you, judge, for what you did, he go to the pen and hold it and says, thank you, pen. And this pen is the khalq, this is the creation. When you go, and this pen is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when and this is the hadith is talking about this point, like, don't ask people, and even ask them, you know, anything he gives to you is from Allah. I remember like one of my teachers, he was running a big organization, and I remember one of the big donors at this moment, he really donated a big amount. And this happened in front of my eyes. And so the donor thought like, okay, I'm kind of paying this organization, so I'm kind of entitlement. So he did something like improper at that time. I remember my sheikh, he stopped him. And I realized at this moment, these people are not thinking this money is from this person. This money from Allah is not from anyone else. So we have to realize this reality is in our heart. And of course, the riyada takes time to actualize this. It's not from one night. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have all this one day, inshallah. Then he goes to the fifth advice. وَأَمَرَنِي أَنْ أَقُولَ بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنْ كَانَ مُرًّا. He said, say the truth, even if it's hard. So the truth could be two things. The truth on yourself and truth on others. So you say the truth even if it's against your nafs. Even if against your family, you say the haqq. We have to learn to say the haqq even if it's against our will, against our nafs. And you have to be able to tell the people you love. Like sometimes people think that just being like yes man all the time with the people you love is a sign of good friendship. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu قال رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي. May Allah have a mercy on someone who gifted me my faults. We need to surround ourselves with this kind of people. I don't want people around me like yes man all the time. And I want someone to tell me what's my fault now before meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is one of the things that Rasulullah said. So this is regarding yourself. You say haqq about yourself and say haqq about others. When you say something wrong, of course there is a lot of conditions in this we have no time to talk about, but there's mainly a couple of things we have to talk about. When you give people advice, there's a lot of shurut. And one of them is when you give advice to people about anything you think is haqq, you have to make sure that this thing is, you are pretty sure this is right. It's not out of like doubts, like maybe yes, maybe right. And don't try to spy on people because I want to give them da'wah. So you make sure that they're doing something wrong or not. So I go and try to spy on their calls, spy what they're doing, spy on their social media. So we have to make sure before, again, to the first point, which is you have to investigate. You have to investigate what is wrong and what is right and what's haqq. The second, this thing should be haram. It's not like something mukhtalifun alayh. Like you have to go, this is haram, yes, you have to go and talk about it. Don't go on ikhtilafi issues like different opinions in the fiqh. And I see this a lot in some masajids that they come to you and correct you in the way you pray, but they're not full knowledge about our tradition. So you have to make sure really this thing is halal or haram before even you go and talk to this kind of people. And also one of the conditions that if you're going to say the haqq for people, just make sure that saying the haqq will not bring more harm. This is the third condition. Like you can give an advice for people, but you know this advice will create problem in the family more, so it's better to stop in this matters. Especially in some families, it's really hard to kind of say what's happening because this can lead to more problems. And the sixth thing he said, وَأَلَّا أَخَافُ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ. So when I give advice, I'm not fear criticism from people. And the criticism is one of the things that test your heart with the people, or heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I remember from my teachers, I asked them one day, when people criticize you, what is the best way to respond, or what is the best way to handle this? And I remember they said, when someone criticizes you, it's one of the three scenarios. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you al-haqq through this man? Even if this man is not believer, even if this man is not even someone doesn't practice Islam, or even Muslim but not practicing. And the best story of this is Imam al-Ghazali's story, when he was having all his knowledge was written in a book. Then a thief, robbers who came and stole his books, and he said, "You stole my knowledge." And the thief, he told him, "What kind of knowledge did I just steal it from you? You don't have it in your heart." He's saying haqq. So this is the first thing you do, that if someone tells you something, you have really to filter, not to react the first thing, okay, no, I'm always right. No, you have to filter. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not. The second scenario, okay, he can come have like 20 criticism and maybe he has 3 only right. or have 10 right. To be able to have from basira to kind of understand what is haqq and what is wrong. This is also required to have the right company to go and ask them and advise them. Is this right? Maybe he's wrong, and you cannot see it. So the first from Allah. The second, someone just have some right, some wrong, and the third one is that what they're saying is completely off, and what this would happen from Prophet all the time, and what Allah said to him. وَدَعَ أَذَاهُمْ وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Just leave them and have tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So this is my teacher's advice on how to deal with criticism. And the last one, which is really summarize all this. وأمرني صلى الله عليه وسلم أن أكثر من قولي لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. There is really no power and strength except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is all what we have thinking as Muslims, that it's only from Allah and by Allah. No one have harm on you. And the hadith of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, when he was on the back of the camel with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, it's a long hadith, but the meaning of the hadith, that if all the ummah trying to be against you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't book to you, it will never happen. الذين قالوا لهم الناس إن الناس قد جمع لهم فاخشوهم فزادهم إيمانا وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل فانقلبوا بنعمة من الله وفضل ولم يمسسهم سوء. That Allah, this kind of people like, oh, we have this group against you and all this, and subhanallah, they say حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. What happened the next? فانقلبوا بنعمة من الله وفضل لم يمسسهم سوء. And this is قول لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. So I'll just go fast through the advices. حب المساكين, to love the poor people. And one of the insights of reading the hadith explanation on this, that the heart of the miskin, even if you go to the other tafsir, the poor people, it's much easier to know the haqq, because there is no a lot. Most of the time, I'm not talking about like some Sahaba, like Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Abdurrahman ibn Auf and Sa'd ibn Waqas, they are wealthy people, and Sayyidina Uthman. But it doesn't negate this. But in a lot of cases, most of the followers of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially in the beginning, were the poor people, but they have much to really care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, most of them. So they have the heart of dhul, that they feel needy to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because who's man al-mutakabbir, who's the arrogant people, really? Someone is ignorant about Allah's greatness. Because he think, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ مِّنِّي. Qarun, he said, I have this because I have this knowledge. What happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed him. فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ وَبِدَارِهِ الْأَرْضِ. And so, qalb al-miskin, the heart that feel need to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Either is a really actual poor person, or someone that have humbleness, like Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Abdurrahman, all these people. And don't look to the people lower than you, and put people to those higher than you. And the best thing here is you have to look to the higher people in one case, in the hereafter. The way you look to your shuyukh, the way you look to the awliya, the way you look to the salihin. In this case, yes, you have to look to these people and try to be like them. But in dunya, no. وأمرني أن أصل رحمي, and to be good to my relatives and don't cut relations with them. وأمرني أن لا أسأل أحدا شيئا, don't ask people for anything. And when even you ask, even if you ask them, you know from your heart, this is from Allah. وأنا أقول الحق ولو كان مرا. Say the truth even if it's hard. وأمرني ألا أخاف الله في الله لومة لائم. Don't fear people criticism when you're on حق. وأمرني أن أكثر من قول لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. And this is the 7 advices that what Sayyidina Muhammad told Sayyidina Abu Dharr radiyallahu anhu. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us meet this kind of people one day and make us actualize these meanings. And I advise myself first and the others, try to implement these things, especially every single word is a golden if you put it in practice. And you will live much better life if you apply this kind of advices from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اللهم يا رب العالمين إن نسألك عيش السعداء والنصر على الأعداء ومرفق الأنبياء. اللهم ارزقنا التقى والهدى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم يا رب حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. أقول سبحان الله. أقم الصلاة رحمكم الله.